How's it going, Instagram? I'm gonna turn my light on just so you can see what I'm doing. And I'm gonna have this crooked angle because it covers most of my body and you can see me pretty well. But today I want to cover basically my I guess perspective on the pursuit of a career, right? Most of us don't look for just a job. We look for something that would actually benefit us long term in the sense of building equity in that industry or in that, corporate climate or startup, whatever effort you're doing. And we look to do something that will, over time scale up versus, bouncing around from job to job, never really creating real value for our name and work. And I've been on the end of trying to go up the corporate ladder. Obviously, I mean, if you have friends, family, you're into that crony capitalism, then you're pretty set. If you're not a crony, if you're first generation, or you're an immigrant, it's a little bit harder to do that. Obviously, you can brown nose all you want, you can bootlick. That might get you somewhere, but not in a social standpoint. Just probably, a little bit of prosperity in the corporate world for the short term. And so I was anti-bootlicking, anti-brown nosing, and I got, I felt pushback immediately. I've tried working with big corporate entities, and I would actually pursue them, in the same ideology that many people follow, that they want to get hit up for their passion by the biggest name in the field to work with them and then be prosperous and live happily ever after, right? That's just not realistic, to be honest, because your rights and your livelihood, in the sense of like how much profitability you're going to see from your efforts, will actually downscale as you get deeper into their structure. Usually, depending if you're a superstar or whatever, you'll have that negotiation power. If you've been, carrying a big load and this is happening, at some point you can say, hold on, no, I'm going up or I'm leaving, because you do have opportunities in other places. But see, the thing is that competition is sometimes tough, and these relationships end up becoming rivalries. And so people don't necessarily want to always hire their rival. They'd rather let them, feel the pain. and it sounds a little psychotic, but, or what's the other word? But whatever. Basically, sociopathic. There you go. But it's, to me, okay, from my perspective, like I said, I tried, I failed, A lot of these jobs, I didn't even get through the interview process just because I felt that the corporate culture there was already too toxic for me to handle. These are other operations are more so, like when I'm already hired and it's like the first day, or I've done very well in the training and now they want to just say, well, it doesn't matter how well you did. We're going to give you this because this is what we want to give you. Things like that. It started giving me like a compromising position for no reason when I'm already giving more than what is being asked of me. And I guess I shouldn't expect to see, my value right away, especially in an employment or a freelancing situation where I'm just starting out in that field. But the thing that I find very messed up is that they usually try and keep you at that level as long as physically, or as long as possible logistically, just to squeeze any sense they can off you. And I find that to be disgusting, and I don't want to be that way in a startup culture like what I'm trying to build now. But the thing is that already, though, in a startup culture, the reach, and the depth that you've reached in that industry or market is not as prominent as a big brand name. That's obvious. Any person that gets, approached by a startup immediately triggers in their head, this could be a scam. I'm not going to make money because there's nothing for me here. They haven't built the value or put in the time yet, whatever, and these thoughts run through their head. But now the question I pose to the young entrepreneurial mind of that freelancer or even young professional trying to become, get a raise or even get a promotion to a new position, just climb up that ladder. where do you see your effort? Have you put in the effort that will equal your growth? You know, because like I said, in some positions I did, and I saw actually, you know, continually taper down versus, you know, actually being human about it and seeing, wow, this is actually working. Let me not tear this guy down. Let me actually build him up, right? It was more so, you know, that toxicity of like, well, this is how we do things. You know, we try and squeeze out the dollars. And that's what big corporations will do. They will always squeeze you for your dollars, no matter what. So if you want the comforts of having a big brand name where they do everything for you, and may even benefit you more than you would benefit yourself on your own, or in a small startup in your mind, right? Like, this is what you think about it. It might not necessarily be true, because the fact of the matter is that you still got to prove yourself. And a lot of these corporations get stale, or they will overwork you. If you get paid very well, if you're on salary, guess what? You're going to be working overtime for sure, unpaid, because you're a salary person, right? So it doesn't matter that you negotiated those extra $2,000 a year. You know, they're going to get more than $2,000 value from you. You know, they're probably going to get that a month from you. So just keep that in mind, guys. You know, it sounds great to be part of these big corporations, and nothing against them. You know, the security, the benefits, you know, a lot of people go in for benefits because they start families very young, at least in the area I'm from, and it gets you thinking, well, like, wow, I mean, I'm set. I don't have to think about another job. I'm already good, you know. Like, I get that, but like, if you have the wiggle room, it might, like, consider it from my new standpoint, which, I mean, I'm not trying to fully convince you, but I just want to get it out there. It's for me to have this logged for myself, and for anyone that this could benefit, right? Like, in a startup, although maybe the payoff isn't great right off the bat, the truth is that the scaling is incredible, right? And it's not a 1-to-1 ratio on your effort, because it's actually exponentially growing based off of your effort, based off the company's effort, and then your team's effort. Because usually in a small startup ecosystem, you're not going to be alone in your pursuit to grow. This is the one thing that everyone in that community is going to have a big focus on, because that's why they're there. They want to gain the skills. They want to grow as a professional. They want to see their earnings scale with their potential and with their actual present capabilities in each passing moment, which is not usually seen in big corporations. You can file or push for a promotion or a raise, but you have to actually go through that logistical process. You have to go talk to HR, talk to your boss, talk to your peers, you know, talk to everybody, and start making moves, or maybe don't talk to everybody. Maybe I'm wrong on that, right? But it just seems more complicated when it comes down to the corporate structure of a large corporation versus a small startup. And the startup, I think, is also, you know, it's tasteful in the way that, because it's so early on in that corporate structure, you know, you can actually very well influence the trajectory of where that business is going. So maybe they went into business with one thing in mind. They end up doing business on 3 facets or 5 facets in that, you know, market segment. And now, you know, you've overtaken one because you grew right into that fit you. And they only took that on because you were part of that team. Big corporations might not take care of that as well. You know, you'll see big talent leave big corporations, but because they have their skill, they'll start their own business, you know, their own freelance, their own startup, and do pretty well, you know, especially for themselves, because you're thinking all the profits of this business are going cut between, you know, the worker, which is me, the admin, or well, the person in the example, right? The admin and the business, and that's it. There's nothing else. Now, if you got some contractors or some employees or a partner or partners, you know, that's also taken into consideration. But at the end of the day, it's just less hands in the pot, you know. So it differs, right? It differs. And that's the thing. Like, I 100% see that being a slice of the pie in the startup. I don't see that being a slice of the pie at all in the large corporation. I think in the large corporation, it actually kind of feels like I don't know, like you're literally just a cog. If you get dirty or you break, see ya, man. We got another one. We got a bunch in the back. All the applications, we keep those for 6 months, 9 months, 2 years. So just the 2 cents right there. Being a startup owner, founder, I think that it really makes me want to push for people to want to create something for themselves. And I think that a lot of people don't really consider that disproportionate, ability to grow in a startup versus a big corporation. Like the big corporation, yeah, you get benefits. So it's like, do you want stability or do you want explosive growth? Exponential growth. You got 2 sides. You can pick. Stability is great. You'll be fine. This can sustain you while you build your other thing. If you've got that grind in you, can you do both? Can you balance that? Do you have the time and energy and the open point of your schedule? Because you have to allocate your attention. It's not just about hours of the day. If you're super exhausted after a full day of working, you're not going to want to just stick down to doing another project on the side. It might be difficult. And this is one thing that I've struggled with personally. But you find your way. It's just, what do you want? You'll find the answer. But people are scared and they will not sign on, right? And so you miss out on big opportunities consistently, but it's because you're not aware of these opportunities, right? So over time, hopefully you'll at least gain some insight and some perspective, right? To make better decisions and grow more, and then be in a good place, be happy, be productive, be proactive. You can't, the thing about that comfort of being in that compromising position of an employee or salary man, your time is on a leash, your livelihood is on a leash. All these things are guided by the hand that's got you stably held up, like you can only go so far from where the base is. If you fall out too far, you're no longer following the guidelines, you're no longer following the rules, you're not representing the company properly. That's the freedom you get by starting your own. Again, if you start in a startup though, same way, you have the ability to now help mold that company. Is that your responsibility? Not necessarily, but in the way it does heavily correlate with what you are trying to do. And if you have that relationship with a business owner, you have that person as an asset, because no matter what, me as an administrator feels like I need to do my best effort to help the people that are there for me and with me to help my company work, right? Because without them, there is no company. Without me in it with these people, there is no profit. I need them to be there. I need to be there fully present and give them what I got to offer, right? And I expect the same. And that's the thing. Like, an employer will look at their employees, and think they're going to cheat me. It sounds weird, and I don't think most people are dishonest, but it's just the culture, because it's set up like that they pay you less than you're worth. So clearly, you want to do less, than optimal work to reflect that. It's instinctual. But is it correct? I don't think so. And then you do have the overachievers that do fantastic and they dedicate themselves to that company and make that company see so much benefit, but they only get their salaries, right? So even if that's $120K a year, perhaps they generated $500,000 or $1 million for that company, I can't be certain. But there's just certain things like that it's really good to take into consideration, feel out where you are, and definitely live who you are, I have friends that have openly told me, and we have these conversations because like I said, I'm a startup owner, and like right now, I'm not going to say I'm in the most prosperous position, but like I see the light coming up. It takes time, work, consistency. And and jumping off when it's time to just jump off and get fully invested and go all in. You know, you need to be able to distinguish when it's time to do that on your new venture or on your new campaign, and when it's okay to pull back and live life a little bit, right? That's in your hands when you're a startup owner. When you're an employee, you know, you get your vacations, you get your benefits right off the bat, all these things that are, you know, super pleasing and comforting to have right off the bat. So, and I'm not gonna lie, that's one of my biggest concerns is like, dang, when can I start getting my people, you know, benefits, or be able to call them employees and not just try and contract out consistently? Like, how am I gonna do this, you know? And I'm gonna figure these things out, but I'm just coming at you the way I am in the present. This is it. So, thank you for coming to my TED Talk. I appreciate you guys, and I hope you have a great day or night. And please comment, you know, share, and let me know what you think if you do see this. And if not, you know, if you're shy, you know, like, start sharing some of your own thoughts. I would love to see it myself if you're in my circle. And if not, you know, it's always a blessing to see some good information or some good perspective. That's all we're about at Sochi Design. Sochi Design, we want to personify our perspective. We want to make sure people know where we're coming from, and you have the understanding so that we can make a better tomorrow together. You know, there's no way that you can do things without mapping yourself out, and then knowing where your people are at too, right? So, drop that pin. All right, thanks guys. Have a nice one.